Welcome back. فلسطين تحوي كل اللغات. It's a language. We talk the language of silence. When you are silent, everybody will understand. Depends on the context. When you speak Russian, English, Arabic, only the people who speak this language will understand you. When you remain silent, everybody will understand you. It's a language that crosses the borders and goes all the way to تخترق الحواجز. So you are now you and yourself. If I am silent, it doesn't mean I'm not talking. If I am silent, I don't want to talk to you. I'm actually talking to myself. Our silence is not like the yoga kind of thing. You know, when people go and do yoga, they remain silent and they practice this. Actually, it's a ibadah. It used to be a form of ibadah for nations and peoples before us. إني نذرت للرحمن صوما فلن أكلم اليوم إنسيا. Sayyida Maryam, she said, I took a vow to Allah, to the compassionate, to make fasting. What is the fasting she's going to make? I am not going to talk, so she will remain silent. But the kind of yoga that they go to the nothingness and not thinking of anything, this is actually, we don't do that. صمت المؤمن تفكر عبادة. You worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when you are kind of silent, you think, you reflect, you don't just leave yourself for nothing. This is when you are silent. You get silent, we didn't get a chance to talk about this one. The person in front of you is not listening. You are trying to get a message, but the person is not willing to listen, so you have to remain silent then. Do not keep going because it's not going to go anywhere. Silence in itself is a language. If you are trying to blame somebody, for example, and instead of blaming that person, you remain silent, it might be more effective that you remain silent. That the other person, because he loves you, he will tell you, say anything, just say anything. But it's a language that might be much more effective sometime when you are not, deciding to choose the words. قيل الصمت هو العلم الأصعب من علم الكلام. It is some kind of science or language that's harder than talking. Everybody can talk. Open your mouth, talk, and keep talking. Everybody can do that, but not everybody can control his tongue. Not every person. كف عليك هذا. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to one of the Sahaba, just control this, and he hold his tongue like that. كف عليك, control this. اضمن لي ما بين فكيك وما بين لحيك اضمن لك الجنة. To another Sahabi he said, guarantee or take care of what's between your two jaws and what's between your two thighs, and I guarantee for you Jannah. وهل يكب الناس في النار على وجوههم أو قال على مناخرهم إلا حصائد ألسنتهم. What takes people more than anything else to the hellfire, being dragged on their faces, other than the words. ورب كلمة يتكلم بها العبد من رضا الله لا يلقي لها بالا. A person would say, a servant of Allah might say a word not really thinking much of it, but it's of the pleasure of Allah. When Allah is pleased with you, you will have tawfiq in whatever words you choose, in whatever step you take, in whatever direction you go. You have tawfiq. وإذا العناية صاحبتك عيونها نم فالمخاوف كلهن أمان. Wherever you go, everything is a good place, is a safe place. Every word you choose is good. The opposite. ورب كلمة يتكلم بها العبد من سخط الله لا يلقي لها بالا يهوي بها في النار 70 خريفا. And maybe a person will say a word out of the displeasure of Allah. Allah is not pleased with you. You will never have success. Tawfiq. Whatever you say, it doesn't go right. It goes wrong. So a word that the person may say could go wrong and could lead to very bad consequences. وقال لقمان لولده يا بني إذا افتخر الناس بحسن كلامهم فافتخر أنت بحسن صمتك. Luqman al-Hakim, and some scholars think he is a prophet. He said to his, and we have a surah by his name anyway in the Quran, and mawa'id, the advices he gives to his son. But in this narration, he said, "Oh my little son, if people take pride in how eloquent they talk, you take pride in how how silent you get, or being silent. Remain silent in many times, and again, we're talking about the meaningful silence, not just silent when you are supposed to talk or when you are supposed to say something." وقيل الكلمة إذا تكلمت بها ملكتك وإذا لم تتكلم بها ملكتها. A word. If you do not say it, you control it. As long as you do not say it yet, you control it. You are in control of it. Once you say it ملكتك. إذا خرجت منك ملكة. Once you say it, you are being judged according to it. It will be controlling you. You said this word, yeah, it could be a word of harassment, it could be a word of this and that, it will have some consequences. A word, as long as you have it inside, you are in full control of it, you spit it out, you will be paying the price of it, or you will be responsible for it. وقيل في الصمت السكوت علامة الرضا. هذا بعض ما جاء فيه. Silence is a sign of approval. And usually this is for البكر ابنها سماتها, a virgin girl, when somebody proposes for her and the father goes to, ask her, what do you think? If she remains silent, and the hadith and Nabi said, that is an approval. Is ابنها سماتها, when she remains silent. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم himself من بعض مراتب الايه؟ السنة قيل سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هي أقواله وأفعاله وتقريراته. The actions of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, this is sunnah for us. The sayings of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is sunnah for us. The approvals like what? Something happened in front of him, he didn't say anything. That means approval. He approved it. In the time of the Sahaba, if somebody, Umar or Uthman or any of the Sahaba needed something, بمحضر من الصحابة, in front of the Sahaba, and nobody rejected that. Nobody rejected it. They said it's ijma' sukuti. It's a silent consensus, meaning that they saw it and they did not say anything against it. That means it's acceptable. And so if something is being said in front of you, that means somehow approval. You approve it. So if it's bad, you need to talk against it, especially if it is backbiting for someone else, if it is involving some kind of attack for someone. وقيل إياك وأن يضرب لسانك عنقك. Beware that this tongue will hit your neck, meaning you will be killed because of it. Many people will be killed because of this word that you said, or it could lead to the destruction of this person. وقيل خير الخلال حفظ اللسان. The best of all the characteristics is to keep that, control that, the tongue. وخير الكلام ما قل ودل. The best of any speech is the short, concise, and it gives the meaning. وكان هذا كلامه صلى الله عليه وسلم. قالت السيدة عائشة used to say, if somebody would count the words of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, how many words did he said in one session, he would be able to do it. He would speak a few words that you can count. You can say he spoke 17 words, 5 words, 6 words. But وكان أفصح الخلق صلى الله عليه وسلم. But he was so eloquent. أوتي جوامع الكلم صلى الله عليه وسلم, that he can say a concise word, but it's full of meaning. ورب سكوت أبلغ من كلام. And as we said, it could be this silence, some positions of silence or pausing could be much more eloquent than so many words. وعن السر قيل سرك أسيرك. Your secret is your captive. وإذا خرج السر عن اثنين لم يكن سرا. If a secret goes beyond one person, عن شخص, if it goes beyond one person, goes to the second person, it's not a secret anymore. It is not a secret. Once you tell somebody, أقول لك سر, shall I tell you about it? It's not a secret anymore, because he's going to do the same thing with someone else that he trusts, and then everybody else in the United States, maybe the entire world knows it. It's not a secret. So وقال في هذا الإمام الشافعي إذا ضاق صدر الفتى عن سر نفسه فصدر الذي يستودع أضيقه. If your chest, if your heart, if yourself, you were not capable of keeping your secret, if it was tight enough not to hold your own secret, that you said it to somebody else, then the person that you entrust with this secret, the heart of that person or this person is more likely not to keep it. You cannot keep your own secret, that you tell it to somebody else. Then this person that you entrust and give him this secret is going to be more likely not keeping it. وقيل صدرك أوسع لسرك. Your chest is wider for your secret. It's the best place for your secret, not for anyone else. وكل سر جاوز الاثنين شاع. وقيل لا تهرب بما تعرف. You're not supposed to talk, just talk, even if you don't know what you're talking about. You're not supposed to do that. You have to know what you're saying. If you have no knowledge about what you're saying, أو ليصمت. يعني فليقل خيرا, or say good, or stay يعني not saying anything. وقال أظن الإمام البرقيني لو سكت من لا يعلم لسقط الخلاف. We have a lot of differences in books of fiqh and rules. Usually, many of that, or much of that, is because some people who speak what they do not really know. That's why the scholars they have to study the case and reply, and that's why you have so many. لو سكت من لا يعلم, if the person who does not have knowledge would just remain silent, there will be no disagreement. There will be no disagreement. قيل مقتل الرجل بين فكيه. The person is, you know, you can get somebody because of what's between his own. You can get him from his own words. You can judge somebody by his words. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. وقيل المرء مخبوء تحت لسانه. A person is hidden under his tongue. You are respected, you at least not known to people until you talk. Minute you talk, then everybody would know. He's eloquent, he's intelligent, he's smart, he's not. Imam Abu Hanifa, we said that before. And Imam Abu Hanifa, وردت عن غيره أيضا, he used to, in Arabic culture, if you extend your foot in the face of somebody as you are sitting, it's not a good sign of respect or showing respect for that person. So Abu Hanifa had something in his foot and he had to usually stretch his feet, but he saw somebody and he looked so much respectful. You look at him, so much respectful, and he respected him so much, and he was taking the pain of bending his knees and everything. And then the person speaks, and when he speaks, he asked a very silly question. He said, متى يفطر الصائم? When is the end of fasting for anybody? He said, إذا غربت الشمس. That's when sun sets at Maghrib. قال فإن لم تغرب. He said, what if it doesn't set? قال أنا لأبي حنيفة أن يمد رجليه. He said, Abu Hanifa said, it's time for me to stand my feet. What are you talking about? I mean, this is a very silly question. If the sun doesn't set, what do you mean? So once once the person speaks, you would know what kind of person is that. You could respect him from the way he looks, but once they speak, they will be revealed to you. ورب سكوت أيضا في المقابل يكون مصيبة. Sometimes silence is a catastrophe. You cannot remain silent. You cannot remain silent in many cases. And you see your child doing a mistake or problem, or anybody that you have the power to correct, and you remain silent. You can't do that. You have لا تأمرن بالمعروف ولا تنهون عن المنكر. You have to, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, you have to say to enjoin the right and forbid the evil or bad, or otherwise, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned many hadith, bad things will happen to you. So you are in place to say the truth. Say the truth. ولا تكتموا الشهادة. Testimony. You see something, do not remain silent. And you know what? No, ماليش دعوة. No, you have to stand up and say the testimony. You have to speak the truth. Obviously, and many other situations depends on the situation itself. Lakin usually you have to stand up and you have to speak what is right. ولكن sometimes, argument as well. These are some of the situations that you pick up an argument with somebody. Everybody is ready to prove his side and quote things and give evidence that I am right and you are wrong. And I'm not talking about the scientific kind of argument. That's outside, because that's good. But most of the arguments, مخاصمات, مجادلات, مراءات بين الناس, between people is just about silly things. And it would lead to change of hearts, تغير القلوب. You pick an argument with somebody, you try to prove your point, then hearts change. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أنا زعيم بيت أو أهل بيت في ربط الجنة لمن ترك المراء ولو كان محقا. He said, I guarantee a place in the middle of Jannah, ربط أعلى الجنة وأوسطها, in the middle of Jannah and highest level of Jannah, for the person who abandons mura'ah, or just arguing for the sake of arguing, even though he thinks he's right. Because the other person also thinks he's right. There's not going to be end from that. Especially spouses keep arguing this, not that. Silly things, little things. Does it really matter? We spend hours talking about this and that, little things, and we end up, quarreling and things like that. So many times, إذا كان كلامه من فضة فالسكوت من ذهب. Many times, if words are of gold, then silence is from. If words are from silver, then silence is from gold. So you really need to remain silent. Remember all of these situations that you regret, these words that you regret. So many in our time, in our life. I regret that I said that to that person. ورب كلمة جرحا ظاهرا ورب كلمة يعني أقامت لها الدنيا. Maybe one word, you said it. It leads to so destructive consequences. It hurts someone else. It severs and cuts a relationship between you and someone else. It causes namima, for example, it causes two people to separate or two people to fight or a war, even big war between two countries to happen. Or you see it in the Sahifa, in your record of deeds. Does it really, is it something good to see in Sahifa al-Hasanat wal-Sayyat? من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whosoever believes in Allah and Day of Judgment, he should say good or remain silent. فيعني هذا this is the sign of a believer, is that he would listen much more than he speaks, because الكلام في أيامنا هذه شهوة وله برامج, talk shows, and talk becomes like a very big business right now. What you talk and how you put words and how to make fun of others and how to mobilize others and how to it becomes big business nowadays. For us, we don't have to talk about everything. We don't have to get involved in all of that. Few words, and the less we talk, the more safe we become, inshallah. If you have anything to add or anything to ask, this is the time to make it, inshallah. This is practical يعني, لكن تفضل. ما كانش فيه نوت بول ده يا يعني. He didn't refer to any of that. He just يعني قال لي what if it doesn't say. Just like كان معظم او كثير من الفقه في هذا الوقت يسمى الفقه الفرضي. A lot of the fiqh at this time is hypothetical things. What if this happened? What if this happened? And usually it's, as far as deen, you just worry about what happens, the reality. Do not keep assuming what if this happens and what if. So the person actually, the way he puts the question was clear that he doesn't really mean. He's not talking about. He's not as smart like you, talking about the North Pole or South Pole. No, he's just asking random question. If the sun sets, what if it doesn't set? What do you want him to say? تفضل. للإيه؟ أيوه. هو الأخرس يعني the mute person, he said you're gonna go straight to Jannah. الأخرس يعني it doesn't mean that he doesn't understand. ما هو عقل يعني. والعلماء لهم كلام كثير. The scholars talks a lot about a lot of things about the mute person, the person who cannot speak. شهادته له إشارة مفهمة. Nowadays we have the sign language, which is clear. The person understands the sign language. It's the language that it has rules and everything. But back then they would differentiate between somebody who has some kind of signs that may refer to this or that. Can his testimony, for example, accept it? If he is the only person, or he along with someone else, he saw somebody killed somebody, and he goes to the court and he gives them signs. Is that clear or not? They talk a lot about all of these things. If he's the only person who saw the Hilal Ramadan, the Christmas of Ramadan, he comes and he gives the sign language. But being mute, it doesn't make him. It's ابتلاء من Allah. It's a test from Allah, but it's not guaranteed that he will make it to Jannah because he was mute. But yes, he avoids a lot of. لكن يستطيع أن يلمز الآخرين ويهمزهم. It doesn't mean that he doesn't speak, that he avoids. Or no, he can hurt others by sign language, things. والله أعلم. تفضل.
Discussion among the scientific discussions, they have to speak.
احنا قلنا هذا. We said that this is not about the scientific argument. This is something else. Yeah, you have to, in order to learn, you have to, debate and counter debate. This is different. لكن we talking about the meaningless or meaningful silence or meaningless words, which is majority or many of our talks nowadays is just meaningless. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.